Welcome to DNN News, everybody. I'm your host, Dan the man. So today we're going to talk about what happened over Christmas, and are the Russians to blame for it, or is the United States government to blame for it? So there's a couple things that happened. First of all, I'll show you a couple videos of what happened. I don't know if you can still hear me. Alright, so this is a video of a substation in New York exploding. A lot of people thought it was aliens, but we know it's not aliens, but a lot of people did freak out over it. And people caught videos all over the city. I'll mute the sound, that way you can just see it. But this is a substation in Queens, New York that has exploded. This makes the second or third, fourth one this month that has exploded. I can't remember the other two, but the other one was actually in Washington, and I believe Adam from Marfugel TV actually caught it on his phone when it happened. He didn't know what was going on either. And that happened, I think, right before Christmas. So what else happened? Right after Christmas, it seems that CenturyLink, for us, it's a 911 provider, and they provide ATM services, banking services, basically network services for 911 call centers, banking industry, all over several states: Washington, Oklahoma, Kansas. There was a huge outage the very next day, huge. And everybody got this, wherever they lived, people were getting emergency alerts stating that 911 was down on their mobile phones. And people were freaking out over it because they didn't know what was going on. A lot of people did have to call 911, and they just got busy signals, That's going to suck if there was it actually went down and stayed down, and people needed to call 911. So less than 24 hours later, after the power up the substation at a New York dam in Queens, after it exploded, less than 24 hours later, CenturyLink went down. And this is the article from that day, the next day, about what happened. It says 911 emergency services in several states across the U.S. went down after a massive outage at CenturyLink data center. The outage began at 12 p.m. on a Thursday, according to CenturyLink's status page, and caused disruption across 911 call centers through Friday. CenturyLink said it was a network element. Every article I've read has put network element in parentheses. a lot of people's internet didn't, or a lot of people's 911 systems didn't get back up until later on that night. And ATMs and banking services, I don't think they got back up until the very next day. So in less than 2 days, two separate weird things happened. The word that everybody says is going on is that Russia may be involved with all these hackings, or with all the things that's going on. They believe that Russia hacked CenturyLink, and they believe they hacked the substation in New York. Well, is it possible to blow up a substation? Of course it is. If you know what you're doing and you can get the required passwords and logins for that, you can. And I'll prove it to you. So I'm pretty sure that Russia has been hacking all these power plants and all these electrical infrastructure places in the United States, and the two that happened over Christmas was Russia hacking our electrical grid. Now, what would happen if they hacked a major hub or a gas hub? Or, you know, a lot of people do believe all the gas lines that exploded up in New York, I think it's where it was at, or Vermont, somewhere up in New Jersey maybe. A bunch of gas lines exploded, like a whole block of gas line just erupted, and every house exploded. I think it killed a few people, as a matter of fact. So what proof do we have that they're behind this? So the U.S. government knows that Russia has hacked our electrical grid, the gas grid, our communications. They know they've hacked it all, and now they're implementing what they stole. So this is an article from U.S. and World from 2018. Russia hack into U.S. power grid began with stolen passwords. I don't know if you guys can see that. Russian hackers who penetrated hundreds of U.S. utilities, manufacturing plants, and other facilities last year gained access by using the most conventional phishing tools, tricking staffers into entering passwords, officials say. The Russians targeted mostly the energy sector, but also nuclear, aviation, and critical manufacturing. Jonathan Homer, head of Homeland Security's Industrial Control System Analysis, said during a briefing Wednesday. They had a capability to cause mass blackouts, but chose not to. And there was no threat to the grid. No threat the grid would go down, the official said. Instead, the hackers appeared more focused on reconnaissance. The 2017 attack prompted a rebuke from Trump administration earlier this year. So basically what's happened is the Russian hackers went in and a year ago or a year and a half ago and stole all these passwords, and they didn't do anything. So they waited until that, you know, you don't want to go in there and steal something and come, you know, go into a steal passwords and then do it the same day. You won't get caught. So they waited sometime later. So how do you know that Russia has the ability to do this? In Ukraine, Russian hackers knocked out 80,000 residents 80,000 residents lost power for 6 hours on December 23rd. And a Russian hacking group named Sandstorm and its malicious software Black Energy 3 did it. Cyber attacks on power grids and other critical infrastructure are not new, but this most recent attack seems to be the first use of cyber as a weapon with kinetic effects during an ongoing conflict, highlighting the growing importance of cybersecurity. Well, we actually have some sort of a conflict with Russia right now. So that means that Russia has the passwords, and they've hacked just about everything in the United States, along with China and along with North Korea. That means that right now people don't know how vulnerable we are right now. And we're pretty much at the mercy of a lot of countries because our electrical grid is aging. It is aged, and we're trying to use technology. We're trying to use advanced technology to control an electric grid that really it isn't supported by the new technology. So there's loopholes in that system to where people can get in. And not only that, Department of Homeland Security has found out that employees are actually selling their passwords for cash to people, which is, I mean, that's treason right there. So the United States has known about this since 2014. They've known about this. They've sent out alerts. They've sent out I don't know how many alerts. Here's one from United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team. I didn't even know that place existed. It's a I guess a group within a group within a group within a group. The government likes to hide stuff like that. Russian government cyber activity targeting energy and other critical infrastructure sectors. It was released on March 15th, 2018, and then revised again the next day. And it states that the DHS and FBI pretty much know that there's going to be a hacking attempt on our nuclear facilities, our electrical grid, communications, and it states that. It says the government entities as well as organizations in the energy, nuclear, commercial facilities, water, aviation, critical manufacturing sectors. It also contains indicators of some compromise and technical details on the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by the Russian government. So the United States knows that what happened over Christmas weekend. I don't believe in coincidences when two things like that happen in a row. So more than likely, what happened over Christmas weekend with the two things, Russia hacked it. Russia hacked both of them, and knowing that they done that. And they've hacked they've blown up 4 substations over the last year. And knowing that somebody can just go in and push a button and pretty much end civilization for us at any moment is bad. And not only that, but okay, so in 2014, Obama was actually given the same. So in this year, 2018, Donald Trump was given a report on our electrical grid and the catastrophic effects it could have if somebody hacked it, or there was a cyber threat to it by Russia or China, and pretty much it states that there is going to be an attack on our electrical grid, and it's going to go down. Well, what I found out was in 2014, Obama was given that exact same order or report. And if I can find it, I'll show you here in a minute. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll go ahead and show you. Screw it. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you this real quick. Give me 1 second. Sorry if you all hear. So, Obama Electrical Grid Report 2014. Obama. Okay. In 2014, it says a couple headlines pop up. The U.S. energy infrastructure will need major changes, says Obama. So, this was actually the company that did it for Obama. I don't know if you can see any of that. I doubt you can, but here we can like this. Maybe you can. Yeah, you can see that. So this is the report that Obama was given in 2014, as you can see here, for the electrical grid, stating the same exact thing that the report said that was given to Trump. And so since 2014, nothing's been done. Okay, so physical incidents, I didn't read through all this. So physical incidents: 2003 Northeast blackout, Metcalf, California substation attack, Knights Templar drug cartel attack, attacks on energy facilities in Arkansas, Nogales, Arizona substation attack. See, there's been more attacks than that. This report lists all kinds of stuff. Threat actors: Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Non-state actors: Al-Qaeda, drug cartels, other groups, eco-terrorism, hacktivists, individuals, and the insider threat. So they've known about this threat all along. And they've known that the United States electrical grid has been a problem since at least 2014. Obama was given a list of this, and nothing was ever done about it. It says, overall findings: the case for the electrical grid security must be built through a comprehensive strategic risk-based approach. The grid faces a multitude of threats and vulnerable attacks: cyber attack, physical attack, EMP, geomagnetic storm, inclement weather from a multitude of actors. The Obama administration should continue to pursue action that facilitate grid insecurity and critical infrastructure security. Congress must act to codify structures for cybersecurity. So they've known this whole time. Like I said, they've known this whole time. So that's the second report that came from that a president's gotten in the last 4 years about our electrical grid. And while I was looking a couple things up, I found some other things that is just craziness. So which was this. I mean, it's not funny, but here's one that I found. December 13th, 2018. And yes, you did see that right. The national bomb threats emailed around the world. Nobody even knew about this, and I found this. There was bomb threats issued around the world by email. The National Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Center, I have no idea who that is, part of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, is aware of a worldwide email campaign targeting businesses and organizations with bomb threats. The emails claim that a device will detonate unless a ransom in Bitcoin is paid. If you receive a bomb threat email, NCCIC recommends the following actions. Do not respond or try to contact the sender. Contact the FBI, basically. So, I found that while looking at that was on, I can't remember what site that was on. So, back to what I was saying. All right, so Russian hackers. This was a article from July 26, 2018. This Russian hack into the U.S. power grid began with stolen passwords. So they went into they stole passwords. The United States government knows they have the passwords, and so far they haven't done anything about it. There's multiple reports listed about alerts given saying that the electrical grid is going to be hacked and it's going to be destroyed basically by hackers, and the United States government is just letting it happen. And I have no idea. The only reason I could think of a reason as to why this would happen is so they can issue martial law, which I think they have no reason to right now, but if the electrical grid goes down, they can declare a national emergency. And a lot of people are talking about this right now, but about martial law, and a lot of people are talking about people taking people's weapons, and a lot of people have views on all this. My opinion on that is that the government is not going to forcibly take anything from you. They just won't. And it's not because they can't. It's because there's an underlying objective that they need to keep, that they need to keep. And that objective is control. So imagine what would happen if the U.S. government declared martial law and they started going door to door and said, we need your weapons. That's forcibly taking your weapons. If they were to do that, they would lose control instantly, because there's not enough military to do that. And secondly, there's too many people with too many guns. There's something like 300 million guns in the United States. And I think something like there was enough for each person that has a weapon has at least six or three guns apiece, something like that. So the government is not going to lose control. A lot of people think they're just going to come in and take control and take everything from you. They still have to have control themselves. So what's going to happen if they just walk up and start taking guns? Word's going to get out very quickly, and the people would fight back before they gave up their guns. So what would happen? What would need to happen? An event such as a grid failure would need to happen, or something out of their control would need to happen, or they would need to make something happen that they're not blamed for in order to take your guns, such as mass shootings. If you implement enough mass shootings, if the government we know the government lies, we know they scheme. They do things by force, but they are better schemers and liars than they are by forcibly taking anything. So if they're going to deal with the American people and they want to deal with them the right way and still have control, the best way to take somebody's guns before declaring martial law is if you have enough mass shootings, or if the government implements enough mass shootings in the United States, the people will willingly give their guns over. And a lot of people are going to say, no, that's not true. What happened all from 2017 to 2018? You had half the country saying, take our guns. You had half the country saying it. And even the Democrats and the liberals were saying it. The Republicans was the only one saying no, and the NRA was saying no, you can't have our guns. How big of an uproar was it to start taking semi-automatic rifles away from people? Accessories, and people threw a freaking fit. And there just at the time there just wasn't enough. The reason that they didn't take everybody's weapons is because there wasn't enough people on board to do that. So imagine how fast all those shootings happened. I mean, there was one after another, after another, after another. And you're probably like, no, those were individual people doing the individual things. Yet, 15 in a row. 15 copycats. Even a lot of people believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was put up to killing JFK. He didn't do it on his own. Some people think the Russian government done it. Some people think the Cuban government done it via the Russian government. Some people think the United States government done it. So, that's most of the time after a shooting, you don't hear much about that person anymore, even in the media. So something like a power grid failure would definitely be something that the U.S. government could use to implement martial law, because it's not their fault and they're just securing the United States during a time of a national emergency. So could they take your weapons? Could. If they felt they needed to and they felt unsafe. And I'm not saying it's right or it's right for nobody to take anybody's weapons. Once they take your weapons, you will not have any power whatsoever. It'll be over with at that point. And what all these conspiracy theorists are saying about what's going to happen is just going to prove them wrong. And so, like I said, they're not going to forcibly take your weapons away from you. Like I said, the government schemes and lies. That's their biggest skill. That's all of them skills. That's all of them skills. That's their best skills. They cheat and lie, manipulate. And that's exactly how they're going to take your guns. In my opinion, all these mass shootings that's happened, they come that close to already taking them, or them not taking them, but the people almost gave up their weapons. So do you think the government will physically take your weapons? No. I know I keep repeating that, but they're just not going to. It's not going to happen. They still have to have that element of control. They're not going to shoot 20 million people to get control back. They're not going to do it. So, like I said, before martial law is implemented, something like a grid failure like this is going to happen. Something like this, or more mass shootings are going to happen. But the government's going to be behind all of it. They're going to be behind every bit of it. I mean, there's enough evidence that 9/11 was set up by George Bush. Plenty of evidence. And everybody knows this. There's enough evidence for that. So, all right, everybody. I'm trying to do better with my shows. One more thing. I didn't know this, but NASA, October 2018, NASA even got hacked. They stole Social Security numbers, employee information, astronauts information. I didn't even know that. Why they're stealing that? Why people are stealing that? I have no idea. Not to mention that there was a hole. There was a hole. They found a drilled hole inside the Soyuz capsule that brought people back that brought the astronauts back, and when it got to the ISS, when it docked with the ISS, they found there was a pressure leak, and they had to track it down. And once they tracked it down, they found a hole that was drilled, and they've pretty much come to the conclusion that it was sabotage. And so that same capsule brought them back. So and when they did the investigation, they found out that somebody did it on purpose, and they're trying to find out who it was. There's a lot of things at play right now. There's a lot of things at play. A lot. And people just need to get ready for it. They need to get ready for it. It's not going to be too much longer. The world's gotten bad, and even the activists, the liberal people, they've become the most violent. And for some reason, I have no idea why, they've gotten so violent and so disrespectful to people. It's not even funny. People are constantly, I see comments constantly from people are just cussing people out. I get them. People cuss me out. And I don't even talk mean to anybody. And people cuss me out constantly. F this, F that, F you. So, I didn't receive this, that's a letter from FEMA. I didn't receive that for no reason. I got a letter from FEMA stating that, asking me if I was prepared. You know, we have a chemical storage facility 40 miles away. Our county touches the county that's has it. So there's a lot of crap going on, and like I said, y'all need to make sure that you are getting done what you need to get done. So like I said, I'm trying to do better with my videos, and I might try to get some call-in shows or something like that, but I don't want to copy off of anybody, and I don't know what else to do. So I might try to do something. All right. Peace out.